Brilliance Audio presents Power Play, a novel, by Danielle Steele, performed by Dan John Miller. Fiona Carson left her office with the perfect amount of time to get to the boardroom for an important meeting. She was wearing a businesslike suit, her blonde hair pulled back, almost no makeup. She was the CEO of one of the largest and most successful corporations in the country. She hated being late, and almost never was. To anyone who didn't know her, and many who did, she appeared to be in total control, and one could easily imagine her handling any situation. And whatever personal problems or issues she had, it was inconceivable that she would let them interfere with her work. A woman like Fiona would never let that happen. As she approached the boardroom, her iPhone rang. She was about to let it go to voicemail, and then decided to check who it was, just to be sure. She pulled it out of her pocket. It was Alyssa, her daughter, who was currently a sophomore at Stanford. She hesitated, and then decided to answer it. She had time. The board meeting wouldn't start for a few minutes, and as a single parent, it always made her uneasy not to answer calls from her children. What if it was the one time that something was seriously wrong? Alyssa had always been an easy child and handled her life responsibly as a young adult, but still, what if she'd had an accident, was sick, was in an emergency room somewhere, had a crisis at school? Her dog got run over by a car, which had happened once, and Alyssa had been heartbroken for months. Fiona could never just let the phone ring and ignore it if it was one of her kids. She had always felt that part of being a parent was being on call at all times. And she felt that way about being CEO, too. If there was an emergency, she expected someone to call her at any hour, wherever she was. Fiona was accessible to the corporation and her kids. She answered on the second ring.
Mom?
Alyssa used the voice she only used for important events. A fantastic grade, or a disastrous one. Something seriously wrong at the doctor, like a positive test for mono. Fiona could tell that whatever this was, it was important, so she was glad she had taken the call. She hoped it was nothing serious, and sounded concerned.
Yes, what's up?
She answered in a subdued voice, so no one would hear her on a personal call as she walked down the hall.
Are you okay? Yes, of course.
Alyssa sounded annoyed.
Why would you say that?
It never dawned on her what it was like being a mother and the kind of things you worried about, or imagined, or how many things could go wrong, really bad ones. It was Fiona's job to be aware of all those things and be ready to spring into action when necessary, like the Red Cross or the fire department. Being a mother was like working for the Office of Emergency Services with a lifetime commitment.
Where are you? Why are you talking like that?
Alyssa could hardly hear her. She hated it when her mother whispered into the phone.
I'm on my way to a board meeting,
Fiona answered, still speaking in a stage whisper.
What do you need? I don't need anything. I just wanted to ask you something.
Alyssa sounded mildly insulted at the way her mother phrased it. They weren't off to a good start, and Fiona wondered why her daughter hadn't just sent her a text, as she often did. She knew how busy her mother was all day. But Fiona had always made it clear to her children that they were a major priority for her, so they weren't shy about reaching out to her, even during her business day. So Fiona assumed that Alyssa needed to tell her something important. They knew the rules. Don't call unless you really need to while I'm at work. The exception to that had been when they were younger and called to tell her they'd gotten hurt or really missed her. She had never scolded them for those calls, neither Alyssa nor her son, Mark.